Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk Cardboard to Me. Today we're talking about a very unique publishing company called Japon Brand. Now, it is likely that the majority of the viewers of this channel have not ever heard of Japon Brand, and that's kind of the reason for making this video, because I think they do some incredibly amazing work and should be recognized. But even though you might have not heard of Japon Brand, it is entirely likely that you've played quite a few of their games. Now, how does that work? Well, you see, Japon Brand trades uniquely for about 4 days every year, and they print about 10 to 15 titles every year and only sell them on 4 days and in very, very limited quantities. Yet if you are a person who's been collecting board games for at least about a year, it is entirely likely that you have one of their games on your shelf. That's quite peculiar, isn't it? See, what's unique about Japon Brand is that they're a publishing company that uniquely distributes games that have already been published in Japan, then makes an English language copy and brings them to Essen Spiel for 1 weekend and 1 weekend only. Now, unless you're very new to the hobby, and it's totally fine if you are, you might have heard of board games like Machikoro or Tragedy Looper or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, Sail to India, Code of Nine. A lot of games that have not only been very popular but have become staples within their genre. These are all games that have been brought by Japon Brand to Essen Spiel. And the way it works is basically Japon Brand is only known amongst kind of, I don't want to use the word industry insiders, but people who are either enthusiasts or are directly related to publishing or developing games. Now, these are the people that get really excited about Japon Brand games, because then they get to go to Essen Spiel, try those games, and if they really, really like them, they might try and sign the deal with the publishers from Japan. And, well, why don't just the Japanese publishers bring their games to the US or the European market and directly distribute them there? Well, because of how distance works. You see, Japan is very far away. So if you look at Elaine right now, you can't see her. You can see her sort of, but you can't hear her at all. And okay, this is a very silly illustration, but it actually kind of works, because there's not only a distance boundary, and you might say in these days of the internet and, you know, instant communication, things should be easy. But no, there is still not just a cultural divide, but also a divide of distribution channels. And they don't work. You can't just take a game that's worked in one country and, being a member of that country, then take it to another country and hope that it does well. No, it makes a lot more sense to simply sell the rights to someone who has the distribution channels already established. So why are we making this video today? Well, I kind of wanted to illustrate some of the games that are going to be sold in Essen Spiel 2016, because the pre-orders for these games have already gone up. Now look, it's not our intention to make fun of some of these games, because I think they are totally cool. But the translation in the description of these games isn't always quite there, and really, we're not poking fun at language, but the fact that it's funny really does kind of add to it. So let's start with Cat Attack number 1. Cat Attack number 1 is a game in which the cat is to a volleyball. Player is the director and issues an instruction to the cats. Led to the cats, it will aim at number 1. I have no idea what this game is about, but honestly, I really want to play it. Time Bomb 2. Have you heard of Time Bomb 1? No? Well, that's fine. See, I have, but only because I've been following the Japon Brand pre-orders for 2015, and whilst I didn't get Time Bomb 1, the fact that it has a sequel in Japan is maybe saying something to us that maybe someone should pick up this game. Anyway, in Time Bomb 2, you are playing either a SWAT team member trying to discover all of the terrorist hideouts, or a terrorist trying to keep the SWAT from finding all the hideouts. It's a 1 to 30 minute game, the disparity there for 46 players. It sounds hilarious. I'd love to play that. Yokohama. Now, if you've been following the Kickstarter scene, then you know that Yokohama is right now on Kickstarter by Tasty Minstrel Games, and it is by the designer Hisashi Hayashi, who made the very famous board game called Trains, about sitting in a train station. And that's another great example, perfect illustration of how Japon Brand brings something to the US and EU market. And if you want to get the original Japanese version with an English rules text, you can for 53 euros, with the caveat that you are going to Essen Spiel. Who soiled the toilet? Now, this is an excellent one because, see, I've been living in UK for about 10 years, and I think this game perfectly illustrates the cultural disparity between the two great nations of Japan and United Kingdom. Who soiled the toilet? It is a game that the person who soiled the toilet, guess who, have to go to the toilet in order to discuss whether they were dirty at the before and after. In addition, in the action round, everyone will put throwing shit chip to the toilet box. Dirty side man is to remove it under the guise of accidental failure. Clean side will be suspected of doing the accidental failure on purpose. This sounds ludicrous, mostly because if someone soiled the toilet in UK, no English person would ever try to start an investigation on who actually soiled the toilet. But clearly, this is very culturally important in Japan. Now, potty jokes aside, I mean, I can't actually put potty jokes aside because that's all this game is. But you can get a game called Who Soiled the Toilet? Come to Fishing Village. Isn't that adorable? Wouldn't you like to live in Fishing Village? I would. And that's what the game is about. For a mere 13 euros, you get a game where you're trying to resuscitate basically a failing town where its main industry is fishing, and it's a 1 to 8 player cooperative game. And for 13 euros, just look at these screenshots. Look how much game you actually get, and mostly look at how adorable it looks. I want to go to Fishing Village. Can we go to Fishing Village now? Maigo Neko, or stray cats. In Maigo Neko, you are a stray cat, meaning that you lost your home and you can't remember where it is, and eventually through the course of the game you're going to be remembering certain details about where your home is and how it looks like, and you're trying to find it. We would never come up with something like that, and that's why I find so interesting and adorable about a lot of the Japon Brand games. I forgot how to say the word adorable. And finally, for the pièce de résistance, Mask of Anubis. Now, in Mask of Anubis, you get a Google Cardboard, effectively VR headset that you can put your phone into. How cool is that? And one player, and that role alternates as the game goes on, will put the VR headset on and they will see a map with various pieces, and they will have to instruct the other players of how to actually build that map out of real life pieces. That's awesome. And it reminds me of games like Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which is a computer game. And it's kind of a perfect translation of that into a board game, but using virtual reality. I really want to play this game. Don't you want to play this game? Maybe you're not into VR and maybe you're not very excited about it, but I am. And that's one of the main things about Japon Brand and how awesome and amazing it is. They bring interesting games, new games, different and different innovations to our markets, and they make them viable financially, which is great because because of the difference and distance between culture and language and all kinds of things, the design hasn't been restricted by the conventions that our designers have, because we have our own language. We follow what we've already seen. We follow what we already experienced as gamers and as designers. I think they rely upon that. And whilst innovations continuously happen, and just look at games like Pandemic Legacy and Time Stories in the last year, this is another avenue for something new, for something fresh, and something very exciting. And I very much welcome that avenue. And whilst, again, the majority of you who are watching this video maybe won't be able to go to Essen Spiel and actually get those games for yourselves, maybe some of your friends will. And maybe it's just something to be excited about in the coming years, because you'll know, hey, this game is on the horizon. It looks pretty good. I want one.
My mama cooks in Italy, mama swims in Argentina, mama's got a chungaye. My mama's works in Venezuela, mama likes Cinderella, mama's got a chungaye.
Cat Attack #1 is a game where my mother starts ringing me in the middle of the video.